Hi there, my name is Gustav Freytag. I am a German writer who lived from 1816 to 1895. Today, I'm here to tell you more about an important part of any story: plot. What is plot, you might ask? Plot refers to the way writers choose and arrange events of a story for a particular effect. In order to understand plot, we first need to be familiar with the elements of plot: the exposition, rising action, the climax, falling action, and the resolution. These elements are related to one another, and I came up with a way to represent them as a basic plot structure. This is now known as Freytag's Pyramid. Let's see what these elements of plot are through a familiar short story. The exposition is the beginning of a story. It usually introduces the key characters and setting of the story. Sometimes the main themes also get introduced here. For instance, in one of the original versions of the fairy tale, The Sleeping Beauty, the exposition would simply be: once upon a time, there was a king and a queen who waited many years before they had a baby girl, little Briar Rose. The next element of plot is a series of events referred to as rising action. But before these events are sparked, there is usually a conflict that is introduced. In the story, The Sleeping Beauty, the main conflict probably refers to the scene where the evil witch pronounces a curse upon the baby princess. The conflict in a story refers to the main struggle between two opposing forces. It is sometimes a problem that is gradually resolved through the course of the story. After we know the conflict in the story, the rising action will make much more sense to us. In this case, the last fairy's softening of the curse and the king's decision to get rid of all spinning wheels contribute to the rising action. These events build up to that moment of climax in the story. The climax of a story is often thought of as the most exciting part. It is also the point of greatest dramatic importance and is often the turning point of a story. This is often the most emotional moment of a story. What do you think is the climax in The Sleeping Beauty? This could be the time when the grown and beautiful Briar Rose sees a spinning wheel for the first time in her life, not knowing that the old lady is really an evil witch who has cursed her. The very event that the entire story so far tries to prevent, but has been moving toward, happens. The princess pricks her finger, and she falls into a deep sleep. After this moment of tension, the story starts to wind down towards a way of solving the problem at hand. This set of events is referred to as falling action, because often the reader's emotions start to decrease in intensity since the worst is over. For Briar Rose, this comes in the form of the valiant prince riding his horse into the overgrown jungle where everyone has fallen asleep. Of course, what happens after that is what happens at the end of every fairy tale. The prince finds the princess, kisses her, and they live happily ever after. That is the sense of finality that a story usually ends with, and we call that the resolution. You can probably think of a few stories that don't have happy endings, and that's okay. A resolution refers to a sort of closure, a solution to a problem, or an account of what happens to the characters. It may or may not be a happy one, but there is enough for the reader to feel satisfied that the story has come to an end. All these elements help us understand the plot of a story and see the connections between events and characters. Freytag's Pyramid describes a basic plot line. As you read more, you will find that writers don't always use the plot elements in the same sequence. There could also be more than one climax in a story, and certainly more than one conflict. Sometimes, people don't all agree on what the key climax of a story is too. At the end of the day, we just want to be very familiar with the plot elements so that we are better able to see the craft and design of a story. Knowing the plot elements also helps us analyze the effect that plot has on theme and character. For now, just remember the plot elements and think about where you might find them in the next book or movie you encounter.